Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be discussing about software development lifecycle. In this video, we'll be understanding how software is actually built inside real companies. Think about any software you use today: WhatsApp, Amazon, Netflix, Instagram, or Google Maps. None of these applications appeared magically overnight. Every software product starts as an idea. The idea gets converted into then a requirement, then into design, then coding, and then in testing, and then it is deployed. And then it moves to a maintenance stage. That complete journey is called SDLC. Now let's understand, why do we even need SDLC? Why can't developers simply just start coding directly? So imagine you want to build a shopping application like Amazon. Without planning, developers start coding for Amazon app. After 2 months, business stakeholders say, we forgot to tell you, we also need coupons functionality. Then they say, we need payment integration. Then they come with another requirement, we need order tracking. Then they say we need seller management. Soon the project becomes chaotic. Deadlines will be missed, budget will increase, customers will become unhappy. So the complete application will become a chaos. Now look at second row on the screen. Here requirements are collected first, then plans are created, designs are prepared, then development follow a structured path. The project reaches its destination successfully. That's why SDLC exists. It provides structure to our software development. If you want to understand more in detail, so we'll understand it with the house analogy. Suppose you want to build a house. Would you directly start placing bricks? Of course not. First you decide what kind of house you want, how many rooms you want, how many floors, what budget, and then architects create a blueprint or map. Then construction begins, and then you inspect the quality, or you do the quality check by some engineer and all, and then finally the house is handed over. Software development works exactly the same way. Requirements are like deciding how many rooms you need. Design is like creating the blueprint or map of your house. Development is the construction part, testing is the inspection part, and deployment is the handing over the house. Maintenance is then repairing and upgrading the house later on. Whenever you feel confused about SDLC, remember this house analogy. Now let's understand SDLC completely. Look at this complete life cycle: requirements, analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, maintenance. This is a complete SDLC life cycle. So think of it as the journey every feature takes. Whenever a new feature comes in, for example, the Amazon app or any e-commerce app is already built. But if a new feature needs to be introduced, that will go through this complete SDLC lifecycle. And then it will be handed over to the user. Then if there is any new feature comes in, then again it will go through this complete lifecycle. So this lifecycle assures we deliver a quality product. In this complete lifecycle, team analyze the feasibility, architects design the solution, developers build it, QA engineer test it, DevOps team deploy it, operations team monitor it, and then user provides the feedback of that feature that they ask for. And this cycle continues. This life cycle exists whether you are building a small website or a billion-dollar platform. Now let's understand each step one by one in detail. First one is requirement gathering. Everything starts with requirement. This is arguably the most important phase of SDLC, because if requirements are wrong, everything built afterward will also be wrong. So while taking the requirement of any feature, any product, group of features, we need to make sure we are covering all the aspects of that feature. So in case if we miss anything and the SDLC, basically we move to the development phase of SDLC and then a new change introduced, then it will affect the timeline, and then it will indirectly or directly will affect the user or the timeline of the production. Okay, so this phase is very critical. Then comes the analysis and planning phase. Once requirements are collected, planning begins. The team asks how much effort is required, how many developers do we need, what risk exists while we start, or if we see any risk around it, how long will the project take. Suppose management wants the application delivered within 1 month. Then team may analyze and conclude it requires maybe 2 months or 3 months. So this is why planning is important. Without realistic planning, projects fail before they even start. So notice the timeline on screen. Resources, budget, timelines and risk are evaluated during this phase. Then comes the system design phase. This phase answers a very important question: how are we going to build this system? So look at this architecture diagram. It has front end, back end and database. Every application contains multiple components that we all know. So architect decide which technology should we use, how will services communicate with each other, what database we are going to opt, and then you'll see HLD, LLD, high level design, low level design of your system. Okay, so this is the phase where all these things we do and plan. So once requirement is all gathered, story pointing or estimation is done, the high level design or architecture is decided, then we move finally to the development phase. So developer creates feature, they use Git repository, they create branches, they commit their changes, the changes go to PR reviews, like one developer builds login functionality, another developer builds payment functionality, maybe third developer builds order management. So all of these changes eventually gets merged to a common branch, and then that common branch is pushed to the master or main whatever branch of that project we choose. After that, we deploy it to our lower environments for testing. So then comes the testing phase. Now imagine buying a car that was never tested. Would you drive it? Probably not. So software is no different. Testing verifies that applications behave correctly once we hand it over to the end user. So let's look at different types. It has unit testing, testing individual components. Then integration testing, where testing communication between components happen. Then system testing, where we will be testing the entire application. User acceptance testing, which we often call as UAT, verifying business requirement. So all these things take place in the testing phase. So we are already deployed it in our lower environments where QA had done the sanity testing and all. Now comes the deployment part, where we'll be moving our code finally to the production. Final deployment means making software available to the end users. So traditionally, deployments were manual. Today, deployments are automated through DevOps pipelines. So we'll discuss these things in a separate video. So we have different environment for different deployments. So like for testing, we deployed in our development environment where QA done the first round of testing. Then we take it to the staging environment where we do, or QA environment where we do the UAT and all. Then it moves to the production environment. So we can have different companies can have different environments. Some may have 5 to 6 environments for different type of testing, and other may have the general 3 environments: development, testing and prod. So these 3 are the major environments that major companies use, these 3. Okay, so code moves gradually towards real user. This reduces risk. Okay, so we cannot provide the new functionality or new feature directly to the end user. We provide it to the user step by step. We deploy it to the lower environment, then we do the complete testing on it, and then once it passes that environment, then if we move it to the UAT environment, then again we do the 1 round of testing there. Once we verify that everything is working there, then we move it to the production environment. So the user gets the exact feature they ask for without any issues or very minor issues, we can say the cosmetic issues. Then comes the maintenance phase. Many people think software development ends after deployment. No, actually that's where a lot of work begins. User report bugs once we move the code to the production. Business request new feature, security vulnerabilities discovered, performance issue appear on the production environment. All these activities belong to maintenance. If you want our application to be working all the time, then maintenance phase is very essential. User will definitely find some bug. We need to resolve it ASAP by again moving it to the same cycle and then providing back to the user. Now let's understand the models in the software development lifecycle. Many of you have already heard about the waterfall model, but if you are new to the development, you might have not heard about it. So now notice how work flows downwards. Requirement, design, development, testing, deployment. One phase finishes before the next begins. This approach works well when requirements are stable. For example, building software for government contracts where requirements rarely change. However, waterfall models struggle when requirements evolve very frequent. So in private industry or in our IT industry, we see lot of requirement changes. Like if we gather the requirements in the requirement stage and then we move to the development, you will see another requirement came in, another change came in. So for that, the waterfall model struggles. So for that, what we use today in our industry, which most of you must have heard, that is Agile model. So instead of one large release, work is divided into small iteration called sprints. Okay, so Agile asks us to divide our work in the sprints. Maybe it of 2 weeks, maybe it is of 4 weeks. Okay, depends on company to company or organization to organization, how they want to split their sprint. In the sprint, a team develops a small feature. They test it, release it, collects feedback from the user, then repeat this cycle. Modern companies love Agile because company requirements change constantly. For example, Amazon doesn't wait 1 year to release the feature. They release improvements continuously. So Agile enables that flexibility where we can work on one feature and for that feature we'll follow that complete life cycle, SDLC life cycle. Then if that new requirement came in, for that new requirement again we'll start a new life cycle. Okay, so requirement came in and then we release, requirement comes, we release with the new sprint. So this continues. Now let's understand all this by considering a real e-commerce example. Suppose business wants a coupon system. Customers should apply discount coupon. This is the requirement. Now comes the analysis, where we'll estimate the effort and what all resources we need. Then comes the design, where we'll architect the coupon service, the high-level design and how this coupon service will work. We'll create a design, high-level design for it. Then comes the development part, where developer will write logic code for it and then they will deploy it. Then comes the testing part, where QA will validate that scenario, and then comes the deployment, where we'll release that feature to the production. Then comes maintenance, where new coupon types are added later. Okay, for example, they have asked for one coupon type, now they want different coupon types, so that coupon types will add later with a new life cycle. So this single feature passes through every SDLC phase. Now where DevOps fit in all this SDLC lifecycle? DevOps primarily connect development, testing, deployment, operations, and monitoring together. Traditionally, deployment happens occasionally. DevOps transforms deployment into a continuous process. Notice this infinity loop, where deployment, monitoring, feedback, improvement, deployment again, all these are part of same infinity loop. This continuous cycle is what makes software companies move quickly. So for different phases, we have different people who basically own the responsibility. To collect requirement, we have BAs. in the organization who basically collects these requirements. Then product owner, who basically defines the business priorities, which feature we need first, which feature we can basically delay for some time. Then comes the architect, who basically design the system. Then developers, who builds the basically core functionality, basically who write the code, who write the logic. Then comes the tester, who validates all these on the lower stage and production environment. And then comes the DevOps engineer, who basically automates these builds, deployment, monitoring, and operation. All this comes inside the DevOps. So notice something important: software development is a team sport, right? No single person built an entire application alone. And for a large scale application, a single person cannot do it. We need multiple hands. So there are different functionalities and different responsibilities are basically split into different roles, and different person own them. So that is all about this video. I hope now you get what SDLC is. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.